Now, people are being warned to be on the lookout for Asian hornets and their nests after a record number of queens have been trapped so far this year.
The invasive species preys on insects, in particular honeybees, and can devastate beehives. Our reporter Yvette Austin has been looking at what's been done to tackle them across Kent.
A yellow-legged Asian hornet on the hunt for honeybees. In recent years, recorded sightings of the invasive predator have increased dramatically, as has the campaign to try to eliminate them. Beekeepers are at the forefront of the mission, one of the latest sightings in Appledore, near Ashford in Kent.
Standing here, Mr. Hornet, or as we thought a wasp, flew in. So I don't know if it was the right thing to do, but we got a plank of wood and we squashed it. And then the next day at a bee class we discovered that we had killed an Asian hornet.
Even though it's smaller than its cousin, the European hornet, the Asian species is a voracious predator. Its diet includes most insects and even stretches to roadkill.
The problem is that they like to hunt communal animals, so animals that live in nests or hives, very rich source of food. And so with honeybees, even if they don't take too many honeybees, the bees are frightened by them and won't go out of the hive, so eventually the colony will starve.
The way the Asian hornets operate is that they hang around at the entrance to the hive and they'll pick off the bees one at a time. They then strip it of its wings and legs and chew up the body. The sticky, protein-rich liquid is then fed to the hornet's young, which are in the form of grubs. Asian hornets are thought to arrive here from the continent on the wind or even as stowaways in vehicles. So Kent is on the front line of the battle against them. What really worries beekeepers is if a hornet's nest is left to grow and produce queens that survive the winter, which then go on to make nests of their own. So traps are being set to attract both queens and their workers.
These are the ones to be used by the people going out doing the trapping at different times of the year, and they are specialist traps with a specialist type of bait put in them. Only attracts the hornets and not other insects as well. That's the idea. And these are more homemade that anybody could use. Anybody can get involved in keeping an eye out for the Asian yellow-legged hornet. It's what we call a wick trap, and this one a bait station just with the rocks in so the insects don't drown.
So with the hornets' hunting season approaching, people are being asked to look out for them and to record their sightings on a phone app. Yvette Austin, BBC News.
Amazing images, some of those. We're joined here in studio by beekeeper Damson Tregaskis. Morning to you.
Morning,
Damson. Now, you're a beekeeper here in Manchester, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
This sounds a silly thing to say, but they've not come up north yet, the Asian hornets. Is that right?
Not established, no. So we've had a couple of incursions. They were found in Shropshire in, I think, January of this year. And then in previous years, they've been found in Hull, in Preston. Places like that, but it tends to be individuals and it tends to be individual queens or individual hornets that have made their way on fruit. So they end up at like greengrocers or in warehouses, things like that.
We're seeing some of the pictures we're seeing here, and we heard the description of actually what they do to bees, the bees that you're looking after.
Yeah.
It's pretty grisly, isn't it?
And really is.
Those mid-air attacks and then what they do after that.
Yeah, yeah. So they as we saw, they hawk outside the entrances of beehives. So what they do is they hover in the air outside the beehive, and they're not facing the hive, they're facing outwards. Because what they're doing is they're snatching the returning foragers out of the air. So they'll sort of hover outside the entrance a few metres away and grab returning foragers out of the air. And then, as we were told, sort of chew off the bits they don't need and make the rest into a lovely pulp for their young.
Well, they're just trying to survive.
They are just trying to survive. And it very much is a human-created problem. Like it's because of importing goods and travel of things around the world that these have become a problem.
I'm quite surprised by the fruit thing, because I thought that it's all cleaned, it's washed, and...
I think it is all checked and like you say, cleaned and washed. These hornets are only about 3 centimetres big. So if you can imagine you've got crates and crates of fruit or anything, it only takes one to make it past those checks and maybe just shy away from the light and hide successfully.
Tell me, I mean, you may not know the answer to this. How quickly, so say you find one female hornet in Hull, for example. She's there, she's being transported. How quickly does she create her family?
A whole load of
other hornets?
Yeah. So it does take a little while. So Asian hornets have a fairly unique sort of life cycle. The queen will set up a primary nest, usually close to the ground. And then once
so that's where people should be looking anyway. And
then once that's sort of a bit more established, they often then move to a secondary nest, and they'll build a secondary nest high up in a tree. So it depends what time of year. And then each nest can produce 500 to 750 queens. And then those queens at the end of the year, around sort of November time, go off, hibernate, either on their own or sometimes in small groups. And then obviously the following year, those queens potentially go set up their own nest.
So if you see a nest, who should you call?
There's an app, the Asian Hornet Watch app. And you can, if you can, take a picture, and then you can upload it. Don't put yourself at risk. The stings from these are really nasty.
It hasn't happened to you?
I haven't been stung, no. But they are incredibly nasty. I've met with bee inspectors who are dealing with them, and they say that it's really not, like, they are dressed to the nines with very thick suits, sort of bee suits plus. And so if you can take a picture, do, but don't put yourself at risk. Like, obviously, rather safe than sorry.
No close-ups.
No close-ups, yeah. And then you can upload it to this app or go to the National Bee Unit website. And that's where they are tracking all the recorded sightings. So if they think they see it, they'll send a bee inspector out to you. You can take them to show them the nest.
I was certain when you asked the question, who do you call, you were going to say wasp busters.
Yeah. I didn't know anyone. Yeah.
Surely that's what it should be. Who are you going to call?
Wasp busters.
But that doesn't exist, so don't call them.
So don't call them that, no.
Because they don't exist.
You're right, they've missed the trick. They should have called it that.
They should have done. It would have been so much more attractive.
Absolutely.
Damson Tregaskis, thank you very much.
Thank you for having
High
me.
Five in Manchester, thank you.
Thank you.